Good afternoon, dear viewer. My name is Peter MUYA. I'm co-founder and managing partner of PTI Consulting. We are a management consultancy firm that is interested in providing business advisory services around enterprise transformation. And I'm here today to talk about the subject of enterprise architecture. It's a big term, but I'll try as much to unpack it in a language that is easily palatable to all of us. So in my discussion today, I'll talk about how we do enterprise architecture. So how do we do enterprise architecture? It's an interesting question, and sometimes when we go out when we prospect for work and we position this, the expectation from some of the people we talk to is that the engagement to do enterprise architecture actually delivers something or has a deliverable, like you would supply, goods and services, or because of the fact that it's linked to IT, people expect that you will deliver some software, some hardware product. The expectation is that it's a project that has a start and an end date. The truth is, enterprise architecture, by nature, as we said, is part and parcel of an organization. It does not have a start and end date. But you would have architecture initiatives that have implications on the discipline of enterprise architecture. So there's a difference. When you implement something, if you implement a process, for example, you want to improve how you serve your customers, you want to change, it may be taking into account the new rules that affect our banking sector with regards to capping of interest rates. You want to inculcate those rules within your processes, within your systems, and communicate that. They have implications on the architecture of the enterprise. So definitely you would need to make reference to it. But first of all, it has to exist for you to make reference to it and be able to make those adjustments. So what you are doing, you are using enterprise architecture to address changes that are happening within the regulatory framework of our financial services industry. So what is happening is that enterprise architecture then becomes your framework upon which you make decisions on how you make changes. The thing is we ensure that by you having a mature enterprise architecture, it enables you to make changes that are effective. In other words, you change the right things. You don't just change things because they are good. You change them because it is the right thing to do. So you are effective. Number two, you change things right, means you are efficient. So you efficiently execute change in a way that it doesn't hurt you on your bottom line. It doesn't hurt you in terms of the effort you use to be able to achieve that change. And then you change, whatever you are changing in itself may be subject to change. What we are saying is that the enterprise is under a constant sea of change. So you may be thinking of changing something and you've identified how you're going to change it. But in the process, that is declared redundant before you actually change it. So the thing is, you've got to be agile in how you make decisions concerning what you are changing. So that means you change things with agility. In other words, how quickly do you adapt to the need to change, even in the midst of you executing a change that you think is the right change? It's a kind of a tongue twister, but I hope you get the gist. So you need to be agile as you execute change. But you can only be agile if there is a discipline with which you follow how to do that. And finally, you need to have the long term in mind. So as much as you are changing what you are changing now, the thing is, are you being effective today, but compromising your ability to be effective tomorrow? So for example, you're making a major change, or you're introducing a major change that tomorrow will become obsolete and compromises your ability then to transform tomorrow when tomorrow comes. So, or are you making a change effective efficiently today, you are so super efficient today, but that efficiency cannot be carried on tomorrow. It compromises your ability to be effective tomorrow, to be efficient tomorrow. And the same thing. So what we are saying is, whatever you make, whatever you change, has got to be durable. It must have an element of durability. You've got to look at the present and the future in mind. Yeah. So all those disciplines are brought about with concepts of enterprise architecture. So this is how we do it. If you are to understand, what you need to change, for example, you've understood this is what I need to change. This is how I need to change it. But then, where do I begin, for example? There are a range of options. Obviously, you would want to begin at your strategy level. Yeah. What direction do you want to do? So you have means and you have ends. And it's very important that we focus or we differentiate between the two, so that when we are now defining how exactly we want to achieve our end, we have identified the respective initiatives that better help us get there. There's something we call enterprise debt, and possibly I want to talk a little bit about this. There are so many things we can do in response to change. So something has come up, for example, using the example earlier, I mean the regulatory environment has changed, new rules have been introduced, and we have to do something to respond to that. We've got to change we've got to peg our interest rates in compliance or bring them down for competitive purposes. But what happens is, for us to be able to achieve that, possibly maybe we need 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 initiatives for us to achieve that. We need to work with our technology providers. We need to improve our business processes. We've got to look at the legal framework. We've got to look at our customers. So perhaps then those becomes a multi-pronged approach to be able to achieve that one end objective. But again, looking at them, they would all require resources. Yeah, they would need funding, they would need a budget, they would need timelines of their own. So there are cost implications in how those would be executed. That budget, and normally our needs are more than our ability to finance them. I think it's human nature. We want so many things, but what we have cannot fulfill them in the form that we would like as we are. And that is a reality. That's why things are rationalized, and we are able to allocate resources to those things that give us the best value at the most affordable cost. I'm supposed to deliver 100% effectiveness, 100% efficiency, 100% agility, 100% durability, but with 60% capacity. So then there is a deficit of 40%. What do we do about it? Normally, when we are making such decision, sometimes because of constraints of that, either because of time or cost or both, certain things are given away. So we say, okay, we cannot achieve this in the way we had anticipated because our capacity has been reduced. So we take measures that look at alternates or workarounds that help us to bridge the gap. Not quite achieve 100%, but possibly achieve 80 or 70 or whatever with 60% budget. Then what happens is, by doing so, our original intent is missed. Yeah. By missing the original intent, what we are doing then, we are introducing the opportunity that we are introducing complexity of something different or a replacement of what should have been. Yeah? But we are considering it as transitory until such a point in time when we get funding to be able to achieve the 30% that we should have achieved with 100% budget. So what that means is that we create a situation whereby we call it enterprise debt. So there's something we wanted to achieve at 100%. We couldn't achieve it. So we have a 30% that we should have achieved, which we were not able to achieve because we had less budget. Now that becomes an enterprise debt. Yeah, as long as it is not addressed, what happens with the debt is that it accrues interest, like using financial terms. So the undelivered value that we should have delivered initially creates or accrues interest over time. So if it is not properly managed through visibility, exposure, and looking at its implications, it silently becomes like a garbage or a cancerous cell that grows and grows and grows. And finally, when it has grown into, you know, gigantic proportions, what happens is all of a sudden it dawns on leadership that, hey, we have a problem. We need to address this as quickly as possible. And then it becomes extremely expensive and extremely time consuming to fix what was initially a 30%, a small part that possibly has grown to be quite huge and cannot be managed within such a short time. And especially where a situation whereby the organization must do something about it within a particular time. So we understand, or we as practitioners of enterprise architecture understand that we don't have all the funds. And so this framework helps us to manage the funds that we have within a framework that which then we can be able to spread out the funds and be able to address, or rather meet the needs over time, but without necessarily becoming frantic at the end when the needs are too many and we cannot meet them within such a short period of time. So that is the concept of enterprise debt. And it's very important. So those are some of the things we have used, we as PTI Consulting, or some of the concepts we have used to expose situations within certain assignments we have been involved in, to be able to bring value to our customers and for them to make decisions going forward about which particular investment area they should be able to put effort in, so that they transform effectively, they transform efficiently, and they are durable. In a nutshell, that's how we do enterprise architecture.